What is up, guys? Winner Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new duel video. We got Sky Strikers on the left versus me piloting Mekk Invoked IRL for the first time ever. I actually got some of the cards in the mail today. Pretty pumped to have the deck myself. I've been wanting to play it for quite a while. It's one of those decks that I just kind of wanted to pick up because I know it's, it's not the best deck in the format, but it's pretty decent. That kind of fits the memo of all the decks that I have. I guess they're not the best. They're not the worst. They're somewhere in between, give or take, depending on what you value as a good deck or not. So, as you can see, like I said, we got Sky Strikers versus Mekk Invoked. Again, I'm piloting the deck for the first time on the right. So if I don't make God tier plays, I apologize. So he's going to use the Dragon's Ravine, as we saw, similar to the last time I played against Sky Strikers, which is when I was playing Mermails. If you haven't checked that video out, you should. Similar play happening, using that Dragon's Ravine to get not only a spell into the grave to add back, but also getting Darkest Diabolos in the grave, which will eventually, at some point in this match, probably pose a pretty big threat. That card is very scary. Can't be tributed, can't be targeted. It's everybody's worst nightmare, at least in my opinion, because the card is just immune to some of the most important things in the game, I would say. Targeting, tributing, very few things out there that can't be tributed, but I'm going to go ahead and link away the Kagari and go into a Shizuku here. Still has about 4 spells in grave at the moment. And one thing I will mention, the worst part about editing Sky Striker duels now that I have the life points in place at the top is, like, I have to constantly keep track of how many spells are in and out of his graveyard while editing, and that's going to be a little tedious sometimes, but I'm not complaining. It's just only Sky Strikers, because it's the only time I actually need to keep track of something. So he passes over to me. I get things started here with a terraforming to go get none other than the Magical Meltdown. Trying to go ahead and get some searches here. Trying to get some plays going. Standard Mekk Invoked plays, I guess. Gonna activate the Meltdown now. Go grab Alistair. And the way his field is set up right now, it's sort of only requiring me to now have set cards. So putting sort of the weight, shifting it onto me instead of having stuff lined up himself. But there you can see I've got the Alistair summoned now. And sort of waiting to bait out that Widow Anchor. And as I expected, there it is. And he will not take it. Just going to negate the effect of Alistair, but I set 1. Luckily, I have a card 2 set, and I summon the, I think it's Indigo Eclipse, and then I go ahead, move him over, and then make way for Blue Sky, which adds Red Moon, because I already think I have Purple Dawn. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm still new to Mekk Knights. I don't know what the purpose of playing Red Moon is. He doesn't seem that great. I think he's okay in some instances, I guess, for removal, because he can only pop things that are in his zone that he's in. And then I have the Reborn here. It kind of seems like a sack, but I've got Monster Reborn to take his Darkest Diabolos, put that on my side of the field. Now, everything I had was losing about 500, so Indigo is still able to swing over, and then everybody else can swing in at full power. I had to do it that way, or else I would have had to crash with Blue Sky and then done even less damage. So I put him down to 1600. And at this point, I make a pretty questionable play. Again, like I said, I'm still kind of a bit of a newbie, a scrubby, no matter what deck I'm playing, I guess. So, like, here I have the option to go into a Link Monster, and I do. Why? I don't know why. So I link away the Alistair and the Indigo, which is not terrible at this point, He's probably going to go into Nightmare Phoenix, right, to clear that back row. And now I go into Underclock Taker. Why? Oh, why did I go into Underclock Taker? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what I was thinking at that point. Really bad play. I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand, say that one was on me. That was a really fucking bad play. Should have made Phoenix, for obvious reasons. I guess making a Link there is inherently a decent play, because that gives me a zone that's not a monster zone that lines up, so I don't, need to worry about if I summon Alistair, that zone's taken up, I can't summon there. But if I have the Underclock Taker, you can't get rid of it. I can set something underneath it, and then I have a zone right there, because there's now an extra zone thanks to Link Monsters, so with the whole column thing, etc., you know what I'm talking about. And then he's going to activate Afterburners here, so gets rid of the blue sky, and then he activates another engage here, and since he does have 3 or more spells in grave, he will get to draw, and of course that multi-roll now being live since he's activated a Sky Striker card already. And there's the card that will ultimately get rid of that Darkest Diabolus, because the secondary effect of Jamming Waves does not target, so be able to destroy any spell or trap on the field. That does target. He'll destroy his own Hornet Drone, and then be able to activate the secondary effect since he does have 3 more spells in grave, and then just remove that Darkest Diabolus from the equation. And then going to go ahead and swing over for 1,200 over top of that Underclock Taker, of course, is at 1,000, and that Kagari, who was at 1,200, I should say, so that's 7 spells in grave, roughly about. Right now 6, now 5, setting the Widow Anchor and the Engage. Doesn't technically have to show me that, that's why I put those back in his hand to shuffle them up, because he revealed them to me first, as if you had to do that. You don't. And then end phase, looks like Shizuku will be adding back a card. And of course it's going to be engaged to, of course, have a follow-up for his next turn. Now, 1 card in hand for Sky Strikers might seem a bit weird, but very powerful card that's basically going to generate him 2. I normal Alistair, he responds with Call by the Grave. That's going to hit the Alistair that I had in my grave, so that will stop the Alistair on board. So Call by proving to be very clutch and versatile here in game 1. And so at this point, I have no spells in hand. I have no traps. I don't play any traps to begin with, but no spells. And 3 Mekk Knights that aren't doing me any good. He just got his field nice and spaced out. So there's really not a whole lot I can do here. Again, earlier, I just don't know what I was thinking with that Underclock Taker. I could have at least cleared a set card, which now I think would have been Called by the Grave. Which, if had I cleared, I would probably be able to, you know, use Alistair here. But I think he has a set Widow Anchor, so regardless, it doesn't matter. And then he's going to activate the set engage here that will get banished afterwards. I hope it does get banished. And add the Herculean Base. The equip card. Add that from deck to hand. There's that engage getting banished. Getting to draw there off the follow-up. And then going to draw into Terraforming. And that is going to go grab the Sky Striker Air Zone, Airspace. Forget the name of the field spell. That's like the only one that I don't remember the name of. I think it's Airspace. Not entirely sure, though. And then he still has that set Widow Anchor. And then he's going to get rid of Ravine for that airbase. No doubt there. And now has the option to use that if you'd like. And now I have to worry about not getting rid of that. He's going to go into Hayate here. That's what that blank card is. So I apologize if you don't know what that is. And yeah, I forgot to use that Ash that I had in my hand earlier. But I do Ash the second engage to stop him from going any further. I guess that's a plus, right? And then he's going to go ahead and Twin Twister, discarding Herculean Base and hitting the air base. My friend always tells me sometimes you got to go a little neg to start plussing with this deck. Sometimes it involves, you know, Twin Twistering stuff to get stuff in grave. You know, doing a whole bunch of other stuff just to make plays happen. But once you get that engage going, he said it's pretty much all uphill from there. And then the Darkest Diabolus will get summoned out here because the Ray was tributed. And then at this point, he's got a lot of damage. The 1500 Hayate, the boosted Kagari, and the 3000 attack Diabolus coming back to haunt me after I tried to win with it earlier that game. But here we are in game 2. I have to go second because I think it's still best to go second with this deck. Even though I know what I'm playing against, I still try to stick to my guns and say I'll just keep going second. Again, you're probably like, man, this guy is really bad at Mekk Knight Invoked. I apologize. I try to do... It's hard sometimes because, like, you know, I want to have the physical quality of the duels, which have improved greatly, and I'm really happy that you guys have noticed those changes, which is awesome. It's just sometimes it's hard to A, have a bunch of decks to play to keep variety, and B, be really good at those decks to where the point where like sometimes like I'll be happy with, you know, how I played. I think that's the only thing that I might have messed up in game 1. If anything else might have been out of my control as far as I'm concerned, it's just I should have gone into Phoenix there, and that probably would have been a better place. There's probably something else I missed as well. Again, me not being the best Mekk Knight Invoked player. Like, this is literally, this game you're watching here is the first time I've played Mekk Knight IRL. I've played it on stream, but playing it IRL, and against Sky Strikers too, that's a whole nother thing. So luckily I've got the Ghost Ogre for that multi-roll, because that card always poses a pretty big threat. I think for hand traps in my build I was playing 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, in case you were wondering. Those are the 6 hand traps that I was playing. A basic build though. It's not, I haven't had a lot of time to put a lot of thought into it. I think it's like 2 Instant Fusion, 3 Scapegoat, 3 Mind Control, 3 Terraforming, 3 Meltdown, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 3 Blue Sky, 3 Purple Nightfall, 1 of the Mover guy, 1 Red Moon, 3 Alistair. I think that's all I can really name off right now. 3 Invocation, etc., etc. That's 3 Desires as well. So our field spell goes through, and then I start my turn. Instead of with Alistair, I go for Blue Sky, because you know, I honestly don't know what, you know, I'm trying to bait out first. What would be better to use as bait? And I figured at this point it'd be better to use Blue Sky, but it does get ogred. So on resolution, there is nothing in the zones. There's no way the effect can resolve to search, because it's not in a zone anymore. At least that's what I was told and how it works. So I don't get to search off that. Luckily, I've got another card to set for the Purple Nightfall, who is down by about 300 right now, so putting him down to 2200 attack. I'm always like, with this deck, you know, playing against Sky Strikers, and we didn't side this game, by the way, because I didn't have a side deck built, because all the stuff that I was using for this deck was all my friends, so I didn't have the extra sleeves and stuff, and just didn't have the time to throw together a makeshift side deck in the same sleeves and stuff. Twin Twister goes off there, putting more spells into the grave. Purple Nightfall does get me a search, which is okay, right? And then I summon the Red Moon. I do actually have a target engraved though for it to banish to destroy. But as I was saying earlier, I'm always like hesitant playing against Sky Striker, because they always have that Ray engraved, and I hate decks that float. I hate it. I don't know what it is about it. I just hate decks that float. You get rid of one card, it's immediately replaced by another, and it just feels like you're playing against quicksand. It's infuriating for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if some of you guys feel that way too, but me personally, sometimes it's just, I just hate it. I don't know what it is. So like, I don't know, like, is attacking the Kagari or the Shizuku there even worth it? Because he's gonna get out the, you know, the Ray, and that's just gonna attribute away into Kagari, as you see here. You know, he's activating Engage now. That's going to grab multi-roll. He's going to get to draw off this as well. It just feels like it's just, unless you have a way to actually get rid of, you know, the Ray or the Shizuku, the Kagari in a different manner that won't trigger Ray, it feels like you're literally just wasting your own time. And then they're just going to Widow Anchor anything you do else after that. And then they're just going to Jamming Wave and Afterburner you next turn. So, like, there's just, and then they get it all back with multi-roll. Like, that's basically to sum it up. It's very one-sided matchup here, I think. Although I think Mekk Knights can definitely win given the chance. Like, if I perhaps maybe tried to go first with the deck instead of a defensive board, but a defensive board with this deck maybe is a Mekaba, and that's about it. With some hand traps, is going to go ahead and use Afterburner here to hit the Red Moon and Scapegoat. Luckily, I have to go ahead and chain that. Better than nothing, right? Gives me 4 additional tokens. So now I put him sort of in a predicament. If he doesn't kill them, any tokens, I don't get the Purple Nightfall back during the next standby phase, but I do get to make a Borload Dragon, which could prove pretty futile for him. But again, Borload in this case is pretty much terrible just because of a card like Widow Anchor, which is really unfortunate. And then he's going to go Shizuku right here back into Kagari, and go ahead and add back a spell, going to be Engage, as you might have guessed. And if he does clear a token, I do get Purple Nightfall back. So he's sort of got like a split decision here to make, but I think it's pretty obvious. He doesn't want me to get Borload, even though it's still, Borload's not that big of a threat. Drawing looks like Ogre off that Engage. And then Hercules base is going to allow his Kagari to attack twice and then draw, I believe, for each monster that it destroys by battle. So, like, that card is actually more busted than I ever thought it was. Like I said last time, I didn't even know that was an effect that it had. So he kills a token, kills the Alistair. Then here in main phase 2, activating Foolish Burial Good, sending Metal Pose Fusion. That, of course, is going to recycle itself. And here I think he's going to use multi-roll to destroy the Hercules base, and then Hercules base gets its effect, recycling 3 extra deck monsters. And here, I'm not sure exactly what his next move is going to be. Looks like it is going to be the Full Metals Full Fusion. I figured he might do that. And gets a free draw there. I don't know if he uses the field spell effect here to mill 3, or to reveal the top 3, rather, to try to grab a Sky Striker card, but looks like he will be setting 1 back with multi-roll, choosing to set it there, and I get the Purple Nightfall back. Debating where I want to summon it. I put it right underneath the Kagari, because I don't think it really matters where I summon it. And I think with my extra deck in this deck, it needs a bit of work. I think I definitely want to play Hyperstar, just because 2 lights is always cool, and you get to add something back. Boral Sword probably wouldn't be half bad. It's just a matter of picking up these cards from Cybernetic Horizon, which I still have yet to do. So I go into Link Spider with 1 token and then 2 into Proxy, because I don't want to go into Borlo Dragon, because I feel as though it's a waste of time. Make Proxy here, because he's just going to Widow Anchor it. So I decided to go for Decode Talker, which can prevent against targeting, but I have nothing in his own that it points to. So there's that. But luckily in my hand, I have a pretty cool card. It's called Instant Fusion. And I'm planning to basically use that to get a monster in a zone that he points to. I try to use the Purple Nightfall here to get something set up with the Instant Fusion. Maybe set, summon. You know, create a line, if you will, in a column. But it does get ogred, so it won't get the effect. And I don't think it banishes for cost either. But I do take the 1,000 from Instant Fusion to summon out Thousand Eyes, trying to bait out, again, that Widow Anchor. There it is. He decides not to take it with it, though, so that's kind of cool. And, you know, Decode Talker benefiting from that extra 500 attack boost, which will allow me to beat over his 2,500 Kagari, because I believe he has 10 spells engraved at this point, so that will go through. He'll take 300 whopping damage, and that will summon out the Ray in response. Again, Quicksand. And then I just try to get rid of that Thousand Eyes for a Link Karibo, because I think, obviously, just don't want to lose the Thousand Eyes when I have the option to go into Link Karibo instead. And then Darkest Diabolus here getting triggered, and then he goes ahead and takes the match in a swift 2-0. And I think it's just part unlucky, part me still being a bit of a scrub with this deck. So either way, regardless, I hope you guys were able to enjoy this video. I really hope you were. Having a lot of fun making these videos like this. I think I like the challenge of editing them more, and I think they look really great, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. But anyways, as always, guys, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.